If you live in a city, you assume water will appear on command. Clean. Pressurized. Endless. That assumption is one of civilization's most dangerous illusions. Most major cities are only days away from collapse. Not from war. Not from terrorism. Not from nuclear weapons. But from a hidden machine beneath your feet, a system so massive, so fragile, so politically weaponizable, that if it fails, the city doesn't just lose water. It loses hospitals, electricity, sanitation, firefighting, control. In 2018, Cape Town came within days of day zero, when taps were expected to run dry. Millions queued for emergency water. In Flint, Michigan, water didn't vanish. It became toxic, eroding trust in government almost overnight. In 2021, Texas faced a winter blackout that crippled water infrastructure. Millions were told to boil water because the system couldn't guarantee safety. This is the real power grid of the modern world. Not electricity. Water. And whoever controls it, controls civilization on itself. Modern water systems are engineering marvels, and human civilization's Achilles heel. A single city can require billions of liters per day, pulled from rivers, lakes, underground aquifers, or massive reservoirs. Then it must be purified, pressurized, chemically treated, stored, and delivered through thousands of kilometers of pipe. New York City draws 1 billion gallons daily from reservoirs up to 200 kilometers away. London relies on the Thames and surrounding reservoirs, serving over 9 million people while battling pollution and drought. Los Angeles imports water across the desert via the Los Angeles Aqueduct, built in 1913. These aren't pipelines. They're survival corridors. You can stockpile oil, grain, fuel. But a city cannot stockpile pressure. A city runs on flow. And flow requires machines. Every water system has 3 weak points: supply, purification, distribution. Globally, agriculture consumes 70% of fresh water, industry 20%, households the rest. Your tap water is minor. The system sustains farms, factories, entire economies. By 2050, 10 billion people will demand more water. But the crisis isn't population. It's location. Most people live in dense cities while water sits hundreds of kilometers away. Nations build mega-scale water capture systems, reservoirs, cross-border dams, underground pumping empires, and pipelines that can redirect regions' fate. Water stops being a resource. It becomes a pawn. Control is no longer about wells or rivers. It's about dams. The Three Gorges Dam in China, completed in 2012, produces 22,500 megawatts, controls flooding, shipping, and downstream flow timing. In Africa, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam threatens Egypt's survival. The Nile supplies 90% of Egypt's freshwater. Filling the reservoir means downstream lives are at upstream mercy. The Indus River Basin fuels decades of tension between India and Pakistan. Water treaties exist because the alternative is terrifying. Rivers are no longer natural. They are valves. This isn't only a developing world problem. Rich countries are failing quietly. Much of the U.S. water infrastructure dates back to the early 20th century. Some pipes are over 100 years old. Hundreds of thousands of water main breaks happen yearly, and when pressure drops, contamination seeps in. Chemicals matter too. Cities rely on chlorine, chloramine, aluminum sulfate, fluoride. Supply chains are global. Interruptions can make reservoirs useless. After Katrina in 2005, and Japan's 2011 disaster, water infrastructure failures created massive contamination risk. A city can survive a blackout for a day, but not without water pressure. Water is civilization's foundation. Water systems are industrial organisms. Arteries, pipes. Organs, treatment plants. Chambers, reservoirs, towers. Heartbeat, pumping stations. Gravity alone isn't enough. Modern cities rely on constant pumping. The Edmonston pumping plant in California lifts water nearly 2,000 feet over mountains. It demands enormous electricity. Water depends on power. Power depends on water. And both are digitized. SCADA networks control flow, pressure, chemicals, valves. Many were built before cyber warfare existed. Oldsmar, Florida, 2021, a hacker tried to raise sodium hydroxide levels in a water plant. Caught in time, but the message was clear. Water is no longer just mechanical. It is digital, and hackable. Water fails not at the reservoir, but at the supply chain. Chlorine gas, sodium hypochlorite, aluminum sulfate, polymer coagulants, they come from specialized plants, often just a few locations worldwide. A broken trucking route. A halted factory. A blocked port. Millions lose safe water even with full reservoirs. Water is now an industrial product. Vulnerability. Global. Surface water is visible. But the Real Reserve is hidden underground. Aquifers like the Ogallala in the U.S. span 450,000 square kilometers, supporting massive agriculture. Many are drained faster than they recharge. In Saudi Arabia, fossil groundwater once grew wheat at scale. As it ran out, the strategy shifted, buy farmland abroad to secure water in crops, virtual water. Water now equals global power. Ownership equals leverage. Water flows across borders, but infrastructure doesn't. The Tigris-Euphrates system, Turkey controls upstream dams. Syria and Iraq depend on its release schedule. Central Asia, upstream Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan control rivers feeding Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. South Asia, Indus Waters Treaty divides rivers between India and Pakistan. But climate change is destabilizing glaciers and river flows. Old agreements are under new pressure. Every dam, reservoir, and pipeline is a negotiation tool. Every pumping station is a potential target. The fastest way to destabilize a city is not bombs. It's water. Many governments don't fully control water anymore. Private operators run treatment plants. Contractors maintain pipelines. Corporations sell purification tech. Pricing replaces access. Maintenance delays rot the system invisibly, until failure is sudden and catastrophic. The Flint crisis? Not drought. Management failure. Decisions under financial pressure poisoned a city. Trust collapses. Governance collapses. The world's water system is a network of choke points. Dams. Pumps. Chemicals. SCADA systems. Global supply chains. Climate change doesn't need to destroy the planet. It only needs to shift timing. A delayed monsoon. Early snowmelt. A late reservoir refill. Cities are machines with tight tolerances. Water is the input they cannot replace. Desalination helps, but it's costly, energy-intensive, and produces brine waste. The future belongs to those who control infrastructure, supply chains, and pumping stations. Because the next global conflict won't start with missiles. It will start with empty taps. The question isn't whether a water crisis will happen. The question is, who will own the switch? Water used to be nature's gift. Now it's engineered, digitized, and weaponized. The most powerful nations won't be defined by oil. They'll be defined by infrastructure that captures, cleans, and controls fresh water. The real system isn't satellites. It isn't the internet. It's the machinery deciding if cities live, or silently collapse from thirst. And it's running beneath your feet. Every second. Without permission. Without attention. Until the day it stops.